All right. We are.
Hi, Lisa.
Hi, Octavia. Thank you for joining me.
Thank you for asking me to participate and to share such nice information on this topic. I love the topic.
Good. So, I wanted to let everybody know what happened and the reason why I needed to do this video. And that is because a couple of years ago, I was tasked to help the mothers to raise the children because this was a Pleiadian commander on the science station, on the Galactic Federation of Worlds science station, and he came through a friend of mine, and he's like, the mothers need a lot of help. They're a little bit lost. They don't know what to do, and I never felt comfortable with this discussion because my kids are grown. They're I have not brought them up like spiritually, with the knowing that I have now. So I just didn't feel comfortable guiding the mothers as to how to best raise their children, how to react when a child is misbehaving, how to, so luckily, I found you, and I knew that you could help me because not only do you channel the ninth dimensional Pleiadian Collective, but you also are is a psychologist, right? Or you were a psychologist, so you've also have a young child, so you fit like all of the criteria to finally, for me, be able to check mark and say, okay, I've done this. And who knows, we might have to do it again. But the idea is that I needed to say that I've done what they told me I needed to do. So hopefully help those that are a little bit lost with raising their kids. There's a lot of electronics that are getting in the way of, I see a lot of little children with electronics on their faces all the time that are causing a lot of issues, learning issues. And
like an extension of their bodies.
yes.
There you say.
Yeah. So, and it's really scary because I'm seeing out in the media, like it causes major learning issues for these children. So I feel like it's time to really get on this topic and, really help the women that are out there. So tell me your thoughts and how do you want to proceed from there?
That's a wonderful topic. So firstly, I want to share this with you, that I'm very, very grateful to be able to receive all this wonderful information. And mostly because I am a mother, and I don't know how related it would be with the fact that I'm also a psychotherapist. Because to be honest, during the years in which I practiced psychotherapy and my studies, I wouldn't say that I've learned so much about actually helping children to get accustomed with Earth. Let's call it like this. The Pleiadians would never say to educate children or to raise children. They would say that we as parents, we collaborate with the children for them to get accustomed with the planet. And they say that they bring so many lessons here that mostly we would have to learn from them first. Let's see what they want to share today. It's quite it's quite a surprise. I haven't channeled on this topic for quite some time now. So let's see what they are willing to share. And as I know the latest subjects of interest from the Pleiadians, I'm sure that they are willing to share some ideas about how to collaborate better with children for forming the new timeline which matches the vibration of the new Earth. So let's say what they have to share on this topic.
Yeah, and if they can explain, and you and I have talked about this, how they manifest also, that would be great to have that in there as well.
And if there are questions, they will happily answer to any question as well.
Wonderful.
We greet you with love. We greet you with joy and happiness. And we invite you all to bring up this vibration, to step into it, to feel the joy, to feel the happiness, to feel all the love and light that we send now towards you. Because whenever you raise your vibration, you actually embody these transmissions. There is no need for you to try to keep anything in your mind. There is no need to try to understand the whole information that you're going to receive today through your usual cognitive logical thinking. We ask you just to be relaxed, just to step into this vibration, to enjoy it. And we are delighted to know that you're interested to know how you can collaborate better with children, how you can offer them your guidance and your support for them to get accustomed with Earth. We would not say that you educate your children, and we will not encourage you to keep using this term. As well, you do not raise your children. You provide a wonderful support for them to be able to manifest their abilities on this playground. And we kindly ask those who listen to this transmission to breathe in and to breathe out profoundly during this entire transmission, because in this way you're integrating it perfectly in your energetical system. We wish to share with you that many children who come now on Earth, many of them are spirits that come from other planets and as well from other dimensions. Therefore, it's highly important to understand that they have a very different energetical input. This is something quite new. It's something that started to happen a few hundreds years ago on your planet. Before then, souls used to reincarnate in the same way on the same planet. Right now, there are many spirits, there are many souls that reincarnate from many different planets, from different dimensions as well. Therefore, we kindly encourage you to welcome them in your world by opening your heart towards them and by understanding that they are different. They are not meant to be like you. They are not meant to carry the same lessons. They are not meant to carry the same energetical input. They are here to bring the new earth. Therefore, we ask you to open your heart to this information, and instead of trying to change them, instead of trying to help them to adapt, instead of trying to present them with a set of rules and conditionings, we ask you to learn first from them, to observe them as they are, to notice at a very subtle level, to notice the differences that they bring on Earth, to notice as well the difference at the level of their vibration, at the level of their energetical body. And we ask the mothers to adjust their bodies to the energetical body of the baby. You can do so by singing to your baby and listening to the vibration that the baby starts radiating, feeling it, allowing your own body to get in tune with it. And you can do so by aligning your spirit with the baby spirit. You can start doing so way before the baby is born. And we always encourage you to create this kind of connection with the spirit before you actually bring it into existence. So we encourage you to do so. We encourage you to enjoy this experience as well and to learn how to observe. We want to share with you that there is a great misunderstanding in your world that once a child is born, the parent has to not only provide all the support at the very physical level, but that the parent has to actually teach the child to act in a way or another. We want to share with you that whatever is here to be learned, the child will learn it automatically. It will take it from the environment. Whatever language will be, whatever manners or way of doing things in a society, in what you call your society, the child will just pick it up in a very natural way. There is absolutely no need to force all this upon your children. Besides this, we encourage you to reconnect with Mother Earth, to reconnect with your nature, and to realize, to step back a bit and to realize that the way you have actually educated your children until now was a very separated way of was in a way in which you have separated the child from Mother Earth. Therefore, we ask you to bring your awareness and to know first that the most important thing for a child is to feel in tune with nature. This is where the child gets its support, its energetical input. This is how the child balances its own body. Therefore, we ask you to go back to nature, to teach the child how to play outside, to teach the child how to connect with different elements, with different natural elements, to allow the child to receive the sunlight as much as the child wants to do so. We also want to share with you that the human body was actually designed, and this is a very important idea. The human body was designed to be able to keep itself healthy, perfectly healthy, to know exactly what to eat and what kind of nutrients to get from the nature. As well, the human body was designed to know exactly when to eat and how much. But because you have created quite a strange structure in your society way of living, we want to share with you that you have actually trained the human body to forget all this. Therefore, if you want your children to be in tune with their body and to be in tune with their intuition, we ask you to let go of those old programs that do not serve you anymore anyway, and to embrace this new perspective. To know that whenever the child is raised close to nature, whenever the child is supported by Mother Earth, his or her body will know automatically how to adjust to the highest possible frequency. Therefore, we would encourage you to keep them close to nature, as close as you can, And to simplify, instead of adding things, we ask you to let go of so many things that you have learned, to let go of so many misconceptions that you have created, of so many programs that you have created, and to allow the children to be close to nature, to allow them to play in the forest, to allow them to go in the waters from very young age, from the first months of their existence, and to create this close connection with the water element. And to know that whenever your child stays connected with nature, his or her body will know exactly what to eat, when to eat, in what kind of quantities, when to sleep, and so on. The entire society structure that you have created does not really support this. That's why it seems that parents have so much trouble with helping their children to feel better on earth. You're actually not really helping them, but instead of that, you're distracting them from their true nature. Therefore, we encourage you as the first step, as the most important one, to allow the child to sit in the sunshine, to allow the child as well to receive the energy of the sun, of the sunrise, and to let the child to have physical contact most of the time with the earth, to let the child go barefoot, to let the child pick up small fruits from nature and to see what the child would deserve. And in the case in which this is not possible, in the case in which you do not have your own garden and you cannot really observe what the child would pick up, we ask you to take him, to take her, and to bring him or her to the normal, to the usual market, and to observe what the child would be willing to eat. Because by observing the plants, by seeing them, by feeling their vibration, automatically the child will know what to pick. And of course, the most beneficial way of doing so would be to have your own garden, and that garden to be connected in a way or another, the plants to be connected with your child. But if this is not possible, just take your child, go to the market, let the child pick up from all those natural things. Do not go to your supermarkets where your child will see all the chocolates and all the sweets everywhere around, because that is not adjust to the normal, to the natural vibration. So in this way, the child will not know what to choose anymore. But go to those natural, to those ecological markets and ask them, what do you wish to eat today? And listen to them. And listen whenever and give them food whenever they want to eat. And for this to happen, of course, you will need to give them a more flexible schedule. And we know that nowadays the normal schedule would be for a child to go to your schools and to spend quite an amount of time there. And if this is the case, we know as well that whenever the child is hungry, we know that whenever the child wants to run or wants to manifest his energy in a different way, that is not possible. So in this way, we ask you to look for those alternative ways of doing it, to look more into those alternative schools. And we know that there are some on Earth, and some of them are highly aligned with the new vibrations, with the new frequencies that come now on Earth. And therefore, we ask you to do so, to offer a more flexible schedule for your child, for him or she to be able to choose when they want to eat, when they want to go outside, when they want to play, what kind of activities they would choose. In this way, you teach your children to follow their intuition. And that's a very important thing, because whenever a child has a fixed, predetermined schedule, and he or she will have to follow that schedule, the body will learn, the body and the mental body as well, will learn automatically that what my intuition says is not good. Therefore, instead of teaching this lesson to your children again and again and again, we encourage you to give them flexibility and to let them choose for themselves, because this is how they develop their intuition. This is how they learn to stay in tune with their bodies, to observe the sensations in their body, to observe what they feel the need to bring, what are the nutrients that they need, what are the movements that they need, and what kind of activities they want to participate in. And this is how they actually learn to stay in tune with their bodies and to stay in tune with their intuition, and to flow with life in a very natural way. And we ask all of you, all of those who listen to this transmission, to breathe in and to breathe out, and to allow all this information to be recorded naturally in your energetical system. We also want to share with you that your children have a great intuition. So whenever you do not know how to take a certain decision, whenever you have doubts, whenever you would like to take a decision, but you can observe a lot of fear in your system or other kind of emotions, ask your child, learn to do so, because their intuition is much stronger and is much more in tune with their own spirit. So start having trust in your children and start asking them different questions. Start asking those questions for which you do not have the answer yet. As you would ask the questions to your spirit guides, as you would ask the questions to your angels, learn how to ask the same questions to your children, because they have the best answers for you. Have trust and do so. And by having trust and showing this trust, you'll actually teach them as well to act from a place of joy and trust. And that's also a very important step in their life. So instead of assuming that they do not know anything and you know all that you have to know about this plane of existence, we encourage you to actually let go of this program and to embrace the new perspective that the children have a great intuition and they will actually help you to evolve. We kindly ask you once more to breathe in and to breathe out. Another perspective that we want to share with you, and it's a fifth dimensional perspective, is that the relationship between the parents and children has to be, and it is naturally, equal. Therefore, instead of thinking that you have to create different sacrifices for your children, instead of thinking that you have to give much more than they give to you, we encourage you to adopt the perspective that the child is here to give as much as he or she receives from their parents. Therefore, whenever you feel that you need something, ask from that something from the child. If you need joy, if you need more happiness, if you need more laughter in your life. Ask the children to teach you how to do so, how to feel better, how to bring up that joy and playfulness. After a certain age, you can as well start asking children to contribute to different activities. It is absolutely fine to ask them to clean the houses or to cook together with you, or to provide different resources in their own way. And by doing so, you contribute as well to their level of happiness and trust. You contribute to helping them forming a very stable foundation. And we also share with you that because of the way you have learned to do it, the way you have been conditioned to do it, you have created a certain relationship between you and your children, which is not equal anymore. That's why once the child grows up, he or she would feel the need to give back. He or she will feel that he or she owns something to the parents. That's not the usual way of doing things. Therefore, we encourage you to adopt this new perspective and to keep things in balance, to know that as much as you give, you can receive back. And children are so amazing into creating so many gifts for you. So we ask you to open your hearts and to feel gratitude, to really listen, to really observe, and to really embrace the gifts that they have to give you. We also want to share with you what are the first things that the child should learn, of course, from our own perspective. And we would say that you have quite a funny way of educating your children, the way of sending them to school and teaching them different subjects, which, of course, in your work can be quite useful. But you ask your children to pay attention, though you never really teach them how to raise their level of concentration. And you ask your children to sit down for longer periods of time without really teaching them how to do so, how to bring up that stillness from inside and how to feel at peace whenever they have to sit down and learn. And you expect your children to have a good behavior, to listen to you, to be joyful and happy and playful, but you do not really teach them so much about emotions and how to understand their emotional side, how to deal with their own emotions. So we would say that some of the very important steps to be taken when it comes to your what you call education in schools would be to actually teach your children how to raise their level of concentration. And you can do so through so many amazing methods that you have already discovered on Earth, like meditation and yoga and many other practices that can actually teach a child to raise the concentration. And through the same methods, you would teach the children how to stay still in a comfortable way, knowing that the body can be at peace in any kind of position by keeping a high level of concentration. And we encourage you as well to teach them in your schools about how to express their emotions. And instead of being obliged to follow different rules and regulations all the day long, we encourage you to teach them how to express themselves whenever they do not feel like doing something, to teach them how to say, I am sorry, but my body feels too agitated right now to follow this and this, or I feel anger rising up and maybe I don't know what to do with it. Or right now I feel so much joy that I want to put this joy into a dance. Or I feel like not standing right now, but paying attention, not sitting down right now, but paying attention by standing up. And all these things you could teach to your children as basic knowledge in schools. You start teaching all those complicated subjects to them without really creating the foundation for those topics to be actually acknowledged, and for them to make best use of the information that you provide to them. And we will not share that what you actually teach them is so meaningless. We would just say that there are many other things that are highly important, and you just forget about them. You just pretend that they do not exist. Therefore, please bring your awareness there and help your children to be able to feel at peace wherever they go, wherever they are. And we kindly ask you to breathe in and to breathe out. We want to share as well with you that children have a very strong imagination, as you might already know. And in this way, they can create such beautiful stories about life. They are able to create such amazing dreams. So instead of trying to impose your values upon your children, we would encourage you not to try to share anything of your own ideas and values with them, but instead of that, to start asking wise questions. And when we say wise questions, we refer to those questions for which you think that you already have the answer. Ask your children, what do you think is the meaning of life? Why do you think that you're here on earth? What would you actually love to do here? How does your body feel? How does your body feel in different situations? What do you think about that star? Or how do you think that you can manifest your dreams? And so on. And we encourage you to learn asking the wise questions for them to develop their imagination even more. And instead of you sharing your very limited values and views upon life, and we do not say so as a criticism, we say so because we know that those values and views have been formed upon fear, anxiety, and so on. And now it's time for a new earth. So contribute to that by teaching your children how to develop their imagination. And as they are already connected with the higher realms in such a wonderful way, what you have to do is just to ask them the wise questions for them to bring up the answer and to start working towards it. And whatever a child wishes to do, instead of explaining the child, teaching the child how to follow the necessary steps to manifest that thing, start asking the child what would be the steps. how do you think that you can manifest flying an airplane? What do you think that will be the steps for this to happen? And let the child bring up his or her own imagination. And we kindly ask you to breathe in, to breathe out, to know that all this information is completely integrated now at the level of your energetical system and your subconscious mind. I also want to share with you that many of the grown-ups here have quite distorted your perception about the relationship with the natural elements, with the insects and animals and plants in your world. And sometimes you even teach your children to be afraid of those tiny insects. And you teach your children to be afraid of animals and to be afraid of sleeping outside in the forest and so on. We kindly ask you to change your perspective and to teach your children how to take care, how to collaborate with the animals, how to build little houses for the insects and to watch them and to observe how fascinating they can do so many things. And teach your children how to tune in with the animals, how to share love with them as the main approach for the animals to respond with the same vibration. As you might have already noticed, because you have taught them to be afraid of the animals. The vibration that they put in is fear, and what they receive back is the anger from these animals. So instead of continuing to do so, we kindly ask you and we invite you to adopt this perspective of whenever your child meets an animal, mostly a wild one, mostly an animal from the outside environment, teach your child to respond with love. Teach your child to center himself or herself in the heart and how to bring up the vibration of love. And that vibration will open up the connection with the animal itself. This is what is needed, nothing more. You don't need to know how to talk their language. You don't need to feed them. You don't need to know anything more about them. Just to go in the space of your heart and to send out the vibration of love. Take care that they learn how to treat all living things, that they learn to understand that everything is alive, that all the plants, all the trees, everything that they can find in a natural environment will respond back with the same vibration that they put in. Therefore, teach them how to talk with the plants, how to send love to them, how to take care of them, how to take care of the environment, how to plant different things and to take the benefits out of that, how to stay connected with Mother Earth each and every moment. And please do not forget that whenever you teach your children to consume more than they need, to bring up plastics and other materials which harm the planet, whenever you teach your children to pollute in any way by using any kind of transportation method which is available right now on the planet, you actually teach them how to disconnect from Mother Earth and even how to contribute in a negative way to their own karma. So we invite you to, instead of that, to start teaching them how to protect the environment and how to collaborate with it, for them to be supported by the planet all the time. We thank you so much for receiving this transmission. We thank you for bringing this knowledge, for integrating it, for your willingness to change your perspective and to have fun, to enjoy, to start collaborating with your children in a very different way, to start stepping more and more into their own vibration and to let that vibration spread on the entire earth. We thank you so much. We love you. We love you. We love you.
Thank you, thank you, thank you for all that information. So much information that we need to know these days. And something that I think is important to Octavia is if you can explain for parents to know that their expectations will affect the behavior of the child as well. So if you can explain a little bit about how children manifest as well.
Thank you for this question. And we would share that children would manifest in a very natural way by tuning with their own desires, with their own needs, by tuning to their own energy. And they would simply manifest through their own intention. And because children are very present, they really live in the present moment, for them it would be so simple to just manifest whatever they wish to. But because the parents have their own emotions, and out of those emotions, as you have shared, they create their own expectations, then the children start connecting their own intentions with that vibrational input that comes from the parents, which means that if the child has a certain intention that goes in a specific direction and the mother will have a very different expectation, then those two energies will meet in the middle and the child will not know how to react anymore. It will not really happen for the child to always react upon the expectations of his parents, but it will happen quite often for the child to be completely blocked and not to know how to react anymore. It happens as well that if the parents show a lot of fear and manifest that fear through their behavior and through what they express to the children, it might happen as well that the children will start manifesting upon that vibrational input, which means that instead of manifesting out of love and joy and so on, they will start manifesting out of fear. And in this situation, they can manifest everything. They can manifest accordingly to their parents, or they can manifest something completely different. It will not matter so much anymore because the main vibration will be anyway a vibration which will not be aligned with their potential, with their higher potential. So in this situation, we would encourage parents to leave their minds free. And as we have said, as we have shared in the beginning of this transmission, to observe your children and to observe the direction of their own steps. And instead of creating your own expectations most of the time out of your strong desires and fears, we'd encourage you to let your mind free and to observe the child and to start learning how to teach your own child. Because you will not do so but upon what you already know, but you will do so upon what the child shows you. You will have to tune your teachings to his or her own vibration and to his and her own orientation. And we hope that you can really receive this message and to embrace this. We encourage you to step into that place of love, to step into that place of trust, and to allow your children to show you more, to allow them to keep their connection with the higher dimensional planes of existence and to bring this energy here. We thank you so much. We love you.
So, Octavia, the next question, and thank you for the answer, would be for me that comes to mind is, and of course, like I said, my kids are already grown, but the biggest issue I have is that I will ask my teenager to, let's say, for example, take out the garbage, and he's like, why? Not right now. I don't want to do it right now. And it's like, so of course, as a parent, we need it done right now, but the child is saying no. So, like, how would you spiritually handle that? Like, I personally don't get mad because my vibration is too important to get upset with him. So I just either let it go or I end up doing it myself, which is not good either. So I find myself not knowing what to do when the child is defiant or doesn't want to do what they're being asked to do.
We thank you for this question, and we will guide you to find the answer to it way beyond the question itself, way beyond the action that you have presented to us. We would say that if the relationship there is stable, if the relationship is based upon love, kindness, and compassion, whatever you would ask your children to do, they will do, but they will do ask out of that compassion, out of that love for you. Therefore, if the relationship was not created like this, if your relationship with your children is not based on friendship, then whatever you ask them to do, and most probably this is how it happens right now, whatever you ask them to do, they will take it as a rule, because they most probably remember the times when they were smaller and you used to impose certain rules and to ask them to do certain things because they have to do it. And in this way, you have created quite a pattern that, of course, came back later. And this pattern determines them to say, no, thank you. I don't want to get into it anymore. It's like a kind of rejection that they have formed. It's not a strong one, but it's just there, like creating, constructing a wall in front of them and saying, no, I'm not going to play upon these rules anymore. So if you want to change this, go beyond this simple action and build up the friendship with them. Let go of any kind of rules, let go of any kind of requests, let go of any kind of regulations you have imposed in the family and so on, and create a friendship which is built on trust and love. And then you will see that when you create that, imagine yourself with your best friend. And imagine that your best friend asks you to go and buy her a coffee. Would you do so? Now, of course, the answer will most probably be yes. And you will do it out of love. You will do it with joy. You will do it out of appreciation for that person. So whenever you ask your children to do something and the answer is no, go back, build up the friendship with them. And then you will see that whatever you ask, whatever you need them to do, and whatever they will need you to do as well, it will just happen naturally. There will be no yes and no answer. You will just know because you'll be tuned in that vibration that you want to help each other. You want to collaborate with each other. Therefore, we really encourage you to build up this friendship by opening up your heart, by starting to share things with your children and to share even intimate things, to share those topics that you wouldn't really maybe talk with them as you would not really refer to because they are your children. In this way, by sharing different things that are more close to your heart, but they are more private, you teach your children as well to open up and to have trust in you. And by doing so, you also build this friendship. You let go of the roles that you have played until now, that you are the parent and they are the children, and you build up the friendship, and everything else that follows will be constructed in this, will be created in this frame of friendship. We thank you very much for this question.
Thank you so much for the answer. So we have a question here that I thought was also very interesting from Antonio. He says his son is autistic, and if they can tell him how to help him, how to help his son spiritually.
We thank you for the question. We also want to share with you that most of those children who have been diagnosed with autism and ADHD and other syndromes that are from the same spectrum are actually beings who come from other dimensional planes of existence. Therefore, they carry a very different information. We will share with you that it's highly important to allow them to carry that information. It's highly important to allow them to share that information on Earth. But in the same way, to be aware that sometimes it will be difficult for them to be able to express themselves. It will be difficult for them to remember their own mission and to manifest it here. So in a way, they will need some support. They will need to understand how things seem to work on Earth. They will need to understand how people tend to create this world and how they tend to behave here. So you will have to find a nice balance into providing the support for your child to learn whatever he or she will have to learn here, but in the same way, not to try to fix the child, not to try to stop the child of following its own intuition and it's his or her own way of doing things and manifesting. And we would say that when it comes to children with autism, it's quite tricky to find this balance. And you'll have to start building up on it by going back, by centering yourself in your heart, by bringing that vibration of love and acceptance and letting go of any kind of label, but having trust that the spirit who decided to come to you and to incarnate here on earth at this time as your child is meant to be there and is meant to be exactly as she or he is. And by bringing up this acceptance, by building up this vibration of trust and love, you start building up that balance, finding up that balance. And we encourage you as well to observe the child, to see how the child tends to behave, to see what the child likes to do. Not to try to interrupt his or her behavior, not to tell him or her that everything that he or she tries to do is wrong, but to try to find a way of teaching the child whatever you have to teach by following his own means of doing things. We thank you so much for this question. We love you.
Thank you for the answer. Our next question is from Sophia. She says sometimes she does clearing sessions on her friend's autistic son. She says it helps a lot. How can I do more, or is it enough what I offer? What do these clearing sessions do? How do they help the child?
We thank you for the question, and we share with you that actually a child with autism will have a high degree of sensitivity, which means that the child is open to receive and to give all the possible energies that are playing out in your world. Therefore, when you offer as an energy worker clearing for the body or a clearing for the energetical system, you would take care of bringing out all of those negative interference with his or her own system. That's why it's quite important for a child with autism to have these clearings made once in a while. And in the same way, we want to share with you that you can teach the child how to do it for themselves. And you will do so by teaching the child how to create a sphere of light and how to visualize he or she standing in that sphere of light and receiving the light continuously and being energized, being nourished with that light. As well by imagining the sphere of light all around it, all around he or she. The child will create energetical protection and will stay in his or her own energy. We thank you for this question.
Thank you for the answer. So the next question, since we don't have any other questions on the chat, my other question that I was really concerned about is the amount of electronics that I'm seeing little children, when they're in strollers, they put these iPads in front of them and they're constantly looking at these electronic devices. And I wonder what is this doing to our children? I want people to know what this is actually doing to their children, to their grandchildren. What is this doing to them?
We thank you for your question. We thank you as well for your concern in this way. And want to share with you that it actually that your electronics interact with the human body by influencing the activity of the brain. And they influence the activity of the brain by altering the brain waves. And they do so by changing, they do so by interacting with the frequency of the brain waves. So we would say that whenever a child spends time on the computer, whenever it spends time by playing on the phone or using iPads and other electronic devices, all those devices have an input upon the way their brain generate certain brain waves. We want to share with you that usually these effects would be for a child who has short time interaction. These effects will be as well on a short term. But whenever a child learns to spend a lot of time by using these kind of devices, then the normal brainwave activity changes, which means that instead of them being centered within themselves, instead of them being aware of their emotions, because the activity of the brain highly influences the entire emotional system. So instead of them being really aware of what happens inside, they will create quite a disruption in their normal system, in the way that they will start experiencing emotions that are not really related to them. They will start experiencing more agitation at the level of their body, because their nervous system will receive all these inputs and will not really know what to do with them. So in this case, we would encourage you, as most of you figure it out, that to limit the time that they spend by using these kind of devices. We'd encourage you actually to bring them outside, to get them close to nature, to let them run and create their own activities, because there is actually no need in your world for them to use such devices from early ages. We thank you very much for your question.
Yeah, and unfortunately, you know, the schools now require them to be using these devices. So, you know, it's difficult for the parents to, you know, they're caught between a rock and a hard place, like they say here in the United States, where, you know, they need to do it for school, but then, you know, it's hurting the child. So it's kind of a, you know, a tough situation. But I don't know if you have anything else to say about that.
Last time when we have asked about this and what we can do, they have taught us how to use the frequency from the central sun and how to actually neutralize the effects of the electronics and other devices by using the central sun frequency. So for those who are not able to limit this interaction with different devices, I think it's really useful to just bring the light from the central sun, to visualize it there, to protect the entire house with it, and to visualize your house being kept by the central sun. So I think this would be a quite useful thing to do.
Okay. And that's just as simple as imagining that they are, because you and I, you know, we're doing the central sun thing all the time, but for people that haven't been used to doing this, it's just as simple as imagining the central sun, and I think it's in the Pleiades, right?
Yeah,
yeah.
It's Alcyone.
Mm-hmm.
And well, they will have first to download the frequency. So this is how it works. First, you listen to different meditations, you work a bit with the central sun, you play a bit with it, and then you download the frequency. And then you can use the frequency whenever you want to do so. So in this case, for those who are interested how to have access to such a high, to such a wonderful frequency, would be to find those channelers who actually channel the frequency, and they offer it through different meditations.
Yeah, and we're going to give everybody your info when we're done, you know, because it's important for me that people find you, because we need to be doing more of that. So definitely when we're done here, we're going to let everybody know how to find you as well.
Thank you, Elisa. And I will add here that there are many other channelers who work with the frequency of the central sun. And there are as well many other very good channelers that provide such a wonderful way of clearing the energetical field and bringing these higher frequencies. And one of them is Steve Noble, who is just amazing. He has such an amazing work. So if you look for his meditation, he provides a really good way of clearing the entire energetical field, and to connect one with different energetical sources as well.
Oh, that's wonderful. Yeah, he does have amazing meditations. Amazing meditations. Okay, I didn't know he worked with the central sun, so that's good to know. Here's a good question. On the best possible timeline, what could the future education system of Earth look like? And that's a great question, because it goes with the name of what we called today, which was the new Earth, the children of the new Earth. So that's a really good question.
Okay, so I'm going to channel this answer.
Okay.
We thank you for your question, and I will share with you that there are already some alternative schools that started to approach the perspectives for forming the new Earth. So in this case, we want to share with you that a great school would be, a great educational system would be that which follows to develop the intuitive abilities of children. So in this case, they will look closely to what the to look closely to observe the interest of the child, and to create different tasks and different subjects that follow those interests, to observe the behavior, and to create as well a curricula that fits that behavior, to observe as well the needs of the body, and to create specific activities like sport activities, yoga, and so on, that fit with those needs that have been observed.
And do you think the future looks like that for us? Is that what our future education system looks like?
This would be the closest future. This would be how the school system is going to change in the next years. But to go further than that, we will share with you that there are many, many changes to come. One of them would be that children will not have to learn in this artificial environments. Let's call them like this. Instead of that, they will start learning more in a natural way. They will start. There are already educational systems right now on Earth that teach children in a very natural way. They have a very natural approach. Some of them name this incidental teaching. Some of them name it natural teaching, and so on. And in this case, the whole environment will change as well. They will start spending more time in nature, more time having fun activities. They will start teaching more by playing with children, which is very important. Another highly important issue is that your teachers will learn how to motivate children. And this is a very important point that we make here. That nowadays you try to teach your children without really telling them why they have to learn. So they go to school each and every day. They follow a very strict schedule. They learn things that they don't wish to learn, and they are not even told exactly why they have to learn them, because there is not any kind of motivation that your teachers know how to bring it up to the children. So in this way, this matter is going to change a lot in the following years. Your teachers will learn how to motivate the child, also by following the qualities, the main directions of the children, but as well by bringing more fun, by bringing more playfulness, by teaching them with joy, by teaching them in this cheering up way of doing it. So from this point of view, the children will be much more motivated to sit and to listen and to learn, and they will just learn automatically much faster. So this will be another great change that is coming now in your world. There are already some schools that have started to implement this. It's spreading quite fast, and more educational and the normal educational system will approve this approach as well in the following years. Another great change that is about to come, though is not so close as the ones that we have already presented, will be that they will figure it out that it's much better for a child to learn with children who have different ages. So in this case, there will be schools that will organize different groups with children who will have different ages, for them to be able to learn from one another as well. So this is another new approach that is going to come in your schools, that instead of children having to learn only from their teachers, the children will start learning from the ones who have already learned different things. And this would be a wonderful approach, because children love to teach. Children love to show different things, and children love to imitate. So it's a great approach, and this is going to be implemented in the next years as well. To look it further, I want to share with you that at one point, humanity will learn that there is no need for teaching children to memorize different things. They will figure it out that by teaching children how to step into different altered states of mind, what you call now altered states of mind, in just a few years will not be called like this anymore. But right now, we will use these terms for you to be able to understand. And we will share that the children will learn, rather than memorizing different things, they will learn how to shift from a state of mind to another, so they can actually download the information in their system. And they will do so by learning how to access the theta state of mind, which allows this to happen by connecting with different informational sources, by being great remote viewers, by accessing this information in a very different way that you have actually been conditioned to think that they have to learn. So this is also a great change that will come, though it's not something that is really going to happen in the next years. But because you know it right now, because we are sharing it with you right now, you can actually spread it, you can share it, you can share this information with other parents, with your friends, by saying that whenever you learn how to access a different state of mind, and this is not hard to learn, you can do it in a few seconds after you have a proper training. After you learn how to shift to a different state of mind, you can actually connect the mind with another informational source and bring the information, download the information into your own system without having the need of memorizing, as you do it right now when you function in a mostly by using the beta brainwaves. So we thank you very much for this question. This will be most probably the changes that are going to come in the following years and a bit further as well. Thank you.
Wow, that's very exciting. Thank you for answering. You know, that also helps in the fact that we're going to learn factual information instead of what the educators are wanting us to believe is the truth in history, right? That's wonderful. That is amazing. I'm really looking forward to that. Another great question I see here is, you know, children tend to have nightmares. So how can we help them? This one is a 4-year-old continues to have the same nightmare, an alligator eating her. What is happening? So, you know, how can we talk about that question more holistically for all children that are having nightmares? How do you help them?
That's actually a wonderful question, because my son has the same issue. So I have already previously channeled the answer. And I was told to teach him actually how to influence the dreams, because we somewhere in our system we already have this information, just that we have forgotten about it. So I was guided to teach him that firstly that he is in control of his dreams. And this was a very important step, because his opinion was that, well, a dream just forms up, just pops up, and I'm aware there, but not so aware to change something in the dream. So I started to tell him that he has he's in control there, that he can actually change the dream. And then he started to tell me what were the dreams, like in this situation, the alligator coming and eating the child. And we took the situation, we looked at it, and I asked my child, okay, what would you actually want to happen there? Let's say you have this crazy, frightening situation, and how would you change it into something that would be pleasant for you? And then my child created his own dream in which he was not afraid anymore, and let's give you this situation and say he would just fight with the alligator, and the alligator will be afraid and turn away, or will start talking with the alligator, or so on. It's upon the imagination of the child. And then we did this for a while. So for a while before he went to sleep, he told me how the dream would like to look. And somehow it was very important to convince him, to give him the trust that he can actually change the dream. So this was one of the most important steps, to tell him, look, you're really in control here by being aware, by setting this intention in your mind when you go to sleep, by thinking before you go to sleep of what you want to dream, and by knowing how you're going to react when this thing will happen again. Then you will know exactly what to do in the dream to change it. And it was so fun, because just after 2 days, my child changed the dream completely. And not only that he changed the dream, but he discovered that he can actually be conscious during the sleep time, which is quite an important step, I would say. So he learned how to play with the dreams, and how to have conscious dreams, and how not to be afraid of nightmares anymore. And even today, he thinks about what he wants to dream before he goes to sleep. And then the next day he can tell me if he really dreamed exactly the same thing, or something similar, or how close he was. So I think it was a great experience. But the most important step was to convince him to have trust that he can actually influence the dream state. So this was the most important step. And the second one was to repeat the story before he goes to sleep, just in that state in which they are not really sleeping, but they are already getting a bit into the delta state of mind, and the mind registers the information very fast. So I taught him what to imagine at that point, and then he just fell into the dream, and he continued his imagination. So it's not very difficult, but you have to bring up that trust.
I love it. Oh, there's some echo there. Did anything change? Do you hear the echo?
I hear you perfectly.
You can hear it?
Yeah.
Where's that coming from?
I don't hear anything else. I hear you perfectly.
You hear me perfectly?
Yeah.
Okay.
Nothing else.
Let me see if anybody else is having those issues. So what do you think about putting an intention there? Oh, it's gone now. Putting an intention, like sitting down with the child and at night saying, okay, I'm going to dream about this other stuff, or I'm going to, what is it? Oh, tonight where I'm going to have good dreams, positive dreams, or something like that. Do you think it would also help to?
For sure, the intention is very important, and it's important to be sure that the child really knows that he can change the dream itself, and also to create the first dreams. No, for example, in this situation with the alligator running after the child, it'd be quite useful to sit down with the child and to create a story out of this one. For example, let's imagine the alligator, and let's imagine how now you start talking suddenly with the alligator, and starts replying, and what would you say, and how would you
Yeah.
make the alligator
Yeah.
go away and not eat you?
Yeah.
So, and we would create these situations to be sure that he has a quite
A way to handle it. Like he knows if it comes up, how to deal with it.
yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
Yeah.
And then we would talk about it, and we would talk for a while, and maybe we'll talk in the following evenings as well, to be sure that he took in the information there and he's able to bring it out in the dream. And especially we would talk just before he goes to sleep. So in that state when he's almost falling asleep, for his mind to register that even faster.
Yeah.
And then we would see if something really happened and it changed the next day. And usually it changes, and it changes very fast. But if the child stays in that state of fear, then it will be a bit more difficult to actually change the structure of the dream. So it's very important for the parent to come with the right vibration and to be able to attune the child with his or her own vibration.
That's a good point. That's a very good point.
It's
Okay.
useful. It's very useful. It's
Mm-hmm.
not as complicated as it might seem.
No, I love the idea. I love the idea. All right, let me see. Probably for one more question before we go. How can we motivate children to practice their instrument daily?
That's a very good question.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I have also asked this question because my son is very willing to learn a new musical instrument, and at some point I was a bit afraid that what will happen if he doesn't want to do it anymore, and he already put a lot of effort into it, and somehow he's not motivated. And the answer that came was that the teacher will have to keep motivating him. It's very important. You cannot really do it if there is no motivation there. So in this case, the teacher will have to really know how to motivate the child to play the next song, and how to do it, and how to share it with other kids as well, and like to create the whole thing. It doesn't really work just to ask the child to stay at home and to practice every day without really having a stable motivation there. It can work at some level. It can work because this is how we do things nowadays. This is how most of the parents do things nowadays. But most of the time, there are no long-term effects. So if we want the children really to keep it up and to keep playing the instrument, and to get to be quite good professionals, they will have to find that motivation that comes from inside. And that motivation usually is brought up by the teacher.
Okay. All right. Yeah, because making them do something is just going to work against it, right? I would think.
We go to the same thing. Whenever we make them do something, we actually tell them your intuition is not good. I don't know what is good for you, and I know better. And at some level, this really happens because this is how we have taught them until now. As the
Yeah.
Pleiadians explain, we have disconnected them from the natural environment. And then their bodies started not to respond in a natural way anymore. And then we have started to impose our own rules and decisions upon them, and to say, I know better than you. And we are keep doing it. So whenever the child wants to do something, or his her intuition wants to go after something, to follow something, and we say, no, this is not right, the message that you send is your intuition is that doesn't really work. And in the case in which we actually observe that their intuition doesn't work, it can happen, as I explained it can happen because they are completely disconnected from nature. We would have to regain that approach and to bring them back to nature and to tune them with the natural elements, and then to help that intuition to open up. So this will be the best way to do it, instead of keep saying, no, this is not good, you have to listen to me.
Yeah, absolutely. That makes sense. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and close out today. I do have a session in 30 minutes. So Octavia, I want people to know where to find you, and also asking them to please share this information. I really did it so that people get to know this. So if this didn't apply to you, that's okay. You probably don't have children, that's okay. But please forward on to those that do have children, whether they're, smaller children or teenagers, because I wish I had this information when my kids were growing up. And I know that this can make a big difference in people's lives. So please share as much as you can so that that information gets out there. And Octavia, how can people find you?
So they can find me on 1000openhearts.com. This is my website. They can also write there and send me an email, and I'm going to reply. They can find me on the Facebook page, Pleiadian Transmissions of Light and Love. And they can find the YouTube channel as well. If they look for my name, they will find the YouTube channel.
Fantastic.
And I really hope that this information will reach those who are really willing to apply, who are really willing to change their perspective, as the Pleiadians have said today. And I am so grateful to them. I'm so grateful for receiving this information, and for actually, I feel so much enthusiasm for bringing this change here.
Good. Absolutely. I am so blessed and thankful that we connected us. They connected us, since we're soul family from the ninth dimensional Pleiadian collective. So just truly blessed to have been able to again connect and work together to help those around us.
That's great. That's great to hear. And I also wanted to share, and I'm sorry that I was almost forgetting it, that on Monday we have a group for meditation. So if you want to join us, that's a group for increasing our concentration level. And on Thursday, usually at 6 p.m. England time, we meet for receiving guidance from the Pleiadians. So it happens every Thursday. If you want to join, just have to send me an email, and I'm going to send you the link, and you can join us.
Okay, wonderful. Awesome. And they send you the email through the website, through the Thousand Awakened Hearts?
Okay. The website, or they can send a message on Facebook, and I'm going to reply there.
Okay, great. Awesome. All right. Well, thank you, Octavia. Thank you, everybody, for being here. And I hope you guys have a wonderful weekend.
Thank
Bye-bye.
you. You too. Goodbye.